You're going to have your high moments, you're going to have your low, and you're going to have your in-between. When we got back to the church, they made us take a picture. We looked like we had been out on the streets for a week, like we all hated each other. That I was there, of course, it was like 90 degrees. We finished the movie, I'm in the parking lot, and I get a call from my best friend, Logan, that I've known since kindergarten, and he goes, bro, you need to get to the hospital right now. I remember just like the screams into my ear, like, and her crying, like, and she just squeezed me so tight. And he was one of those friends, and I felt like I failed him. I was just so scared of being alone because I knew what I would do to myself. I was handcuffed to the side of the bed. They were surprised that I hadn't broken ribs from CPR, obviously, like you could have that, but like I literally, like, you can't even describe it, like color-wise, like it was just bright.
I'm Ben Undershoots from the Unshakably Inspired podcast, and today we've got my friend Braden Denzine from his ministry for mental health, Live, Love, Purpose. So why don't you share a little about yourself, Braden?
Well, I have known Benji since I was a freshman in high school. I'm a sophomore in college at a 2-year school, so I'm graduating in May this year. I've always been into faith. I went to youth group with Benji. I was a youth leader for a while. We went on a mission trip together. It's been a big part of my life, but it hasn't been the easiest road. I've had a rough road, and we'll dive into that through here. But I started this page called Live, Love, Purpose, and we'll get into the real meaning of that once we start talking about my testimony and everything like that. But we've got the merch on today. Benji's repping it. I'm repping it. It'll be releasing on Saturday when this episode releases, so right around the same time. So go down in the link below after you hear this podcast, and you might want to cop some because it'll only be available for 2 weeks. So.
And believe me, like a little bit later, like we are going to talk a whole bunch about his brand new merchandise company. More on that. I mean, I'm just so like privileged to be able to like be the first person to represent Braden in his merch company, first person to announce it, first person to release it. Like, I'm just so thankful. That's a awesome opportunity. You guys better go get some. We'll go get into it a little bit more later. But yeah, so Braden, why don't you like just like a little bit background, your family, you know, stuff like that, you know.
Well, growing up, me and my family were a very Christian family. I lived in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, went to Jacob's Well. Shout out to that big church. We were like the OGs when it was like a smaller church there. And to be honest, I hated church. Church was not fun for me. I would actually cry some Sundays when I had to go to church. And I was like, my mom's like, you're not going to get communion today. Like, I remember her fighting with me, like, you're just like being selfish. And I'm like, I just thought it was so boring and useless. And at some point my parents got divorced, and now they're remarried. So I have a huge family. I've got 2 biological siblings. One's 8 years older than me and one's 12 years. I'm very close with them. And then my mom's remarried. She has now 4 step siblings that are, the youngest one's 12 years older than me. They've all got kids and stuff. And then on my dad's side, I got Max, who some of you know. He's the same age as me. He's not here right now. He's a hoot. Me and Benji had to rip down all of his decorations for this episode before. And then his older brother Mitchell, who has a kid and is older. So pretty big family, and I've always been really family oriented. Mean a lot to me, and I really couldn't be here without them. So.
No, I know that's funny that you made. I remember as a little kid, like that's like especially like when like our church, like back then, like we didn't even have a children's program, so every single summer, especially like every single summer, we would completely cut out everything. So like they didn't even give us coloring books or anything. I just like remember probably sleeping through half those sermons.
Yeah,
at like the age of like 7 or 8.
I remember the worship music and being really involved with the worship music because you had to be like doing all the dances, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the games, and then I remember having some wicked sleeps during church. Like, just great dreams, like not paying attention. I was in La La Land.
Singing and dancing and being every bit a prankster.
And part of the reason I had such a resentment towards church is because I grew up a little bit, like when my parents got divorced, my siblings moved away. I went through like a rough spell at a young age. I was struggling with depression. So I started playing a lot of video games, and I got like overweight. And so I wasn't like the coolest kid in school. I kind of got picked on. I went to a big middle school in Eau Claire, and then I'd go to Jacob's Well. And I love like the community at Jacob's Well, but some of the other youth there, you know, I would always hear, you get to go to church to get away from like the bullying and get away from the hard times. And then when I would go there, like some of the people that had been bullying me or people that I knew were there, and the conversations in the youth weren't always great. So it just made me have this big resentment. Like, I'm like, one example of a really bad topic was like, for example, like in middle school, I had no clue what that was. People would talk about it all the time at school. I'm like trying to get away from it. It's bad. And then you go to church and you're like, nobody would talk about this. This is a great place. And you'd see the same people that were talking about it in middle school there. And I'm like, that's just like not a good image. So it was really hard for me to get into church until probably my freshman year of high school.
No, absolutely. I get it. Like, so many people, I think this, like, they get like this resentment towards God, this like hatred towards God. I think one of the biggest, things about, that, sometimes the hypocritical, just aspect of sometimes us as Christians, that's why it's so important for us to be living like Jesus when we're, being Christians, because like, otherwise when people don't see fruit, they don't see Jesus in us, and they just see everything the world has, hate, evil, sin, and all that stuff.
Oh, and that leads me like perfectly into the topic of like how I became a Christian and in my journey, if you don't mind me getting into that. So basically my journey is, I shared the childhood part growing up and how I felt about church. And it wasn't until my freshman year of high school, I moved away from Eau Claire to Cadott because I was looking to get, more involved with sports, smaller school, smaller community. I figured it would be like a perfect change for me to mature, make new friends, be cool for once is what I thought it would be like. So I moved there, and I was kind of a jerk. Like, I went from being the person that got bullied to being the bully. And I did it because I was like, I wanted to be popular. And all I could wrap my head around was like, oh, if I start doing things that people tell me to do, like, it'll look cool. And I ended up like doing some things that I regretted. And it wasn't like I was making a lot of friends anyway. I was like in that weird middle stage where I was like, still kind of felt like the same old me, but I was like not being the nicest person either. And the people that were like I was trying to be friends with didn't actually want to be my friends. It was more like they thought I was funny, but if it came down to it, like they had their real friends, I had my real friends, and it just wasn't working. And I was trying so hard for people to like me, and I ended up hurting more people than I wanted to. So in between my freshman and sophomore years, actually, I got into a really bad bike crash. I hit my head. I have a bump here still from where my skull expanded. And I was riding my bike, and I vividly remember it was right before the 4th of July. We went down this hill called Crash Hill at my cabin. And I was like, no brakes allowed, bomb this hill, no helmet on, no nothing. And a truck pulled out, and it caused me to swerve really hard. And I had so much speed that me turning my tire to the right ripped the tire off of my bike, and then I like went face forward and I rolled down the hill and hit my head. And I don't remember like anything from the day. I was with Max. They ended up taking me to the hospital, and they thought I was going to have serious brain damage. I couldn't remember what day it was. I couldn't remember like I knew my name, and all I could remember is like people's birthdays. I kept like naming them out, like my sister's birthday, my brother's birthday. I just kept repeating it, but my head was throbbing. I was vomiting all over, and I had to get a bunch of scans, and they were like, you're lucky is what they told me. They're like, there was a 50-50 chance that your skull could have indented and you had brain damage, and it just outdented. So all I had was a really bad concussion, and they're like, should be fine in 2 weeks. I had some other bruising and like nerve damage in my back, but like that night I went home and I like slept, and I woke up the next morning, and I share this in my testimony from high school. As I looked at my phone, I had a bunch of text messages from my family and even people that I didn't know that was like, we're praying for you to get better. And I woke up feeling great. Like my head still hurt a little bit, but overall, like I was able to run around the next day. Like my body didn't hurt. Like after this terrible crash, and this was a huge hill, I was feeling great. And I went from thinking like I resent God to, wow, like this could be real, because this could have been a really bad crash, and it's really turned into something minor. And all of these people that I didn't even know cared about me, care about me. So I made the decision to start taking youth group a little more seriously. I started bringing my Bible to youth group and my notes, and I would take notes at every service that MP had. Shout out Master Pat, Pastor MP.
You know, like, hey, like I'm gonna deem him this episode. He better watch this. I mean, I'm actually hoping to have him on sometime. We got some great things, and we obviously have that guy from that huge game show I've been talking about. We're gonna be recording that next week. But yeah, it's gonna be
Master Pat. Better be on here. You hear that, MP? Yeah, I love that guy. He was our youth pastor all the way through. And he really helped me with my faith, and so he actually chose me to be a youth leader after I started taking it a little more seriously. We always joke about how I used to interrupt his services and stuff like that, and you know, I was rowdy just like everybody else. I wanted to have fun, so
absolutely. And like, just like from what you're sharing about those, like someone who like, that's because of, like, all the hurt and, you know, stuff like you faced and all the like hypocrisy you've seen, like, it's just like, how did it change when you saw Christians who were actually living like Jesus and like showing the love of Christ to you in a way you never truly seen like before in a huge way, you know, when that happened? You know, what do you think for someone who's like, you know, like faced a lot of hurt from the church and like they don't know, like, you know, like if they can even like trust anyone from the church again, you know, like how they can just how that, you know, changed you when you saw actual true Christians who were, you know, living for Jesus and cared about you so much?
Well, that's actually a great point and a great question, because I hear that a lot. Like, I have some friends who are atheists. They don't believe, they had resentment growing up. And I'm the type of person that's like, you have your opinions, but I have mine, and I believe, and that's like my destiny, my end goal. But yeah, there is some bad Christians out there that are like, you know, you go to a concert or something, you always see the people that are like screaming, you're going to go to hell, you're going to go to hell. Like, you're a terrible person, you're a terrible Christian. And that puts a terrible image on Christians. And there's certain denominations, and I won't say who, but there's certain denominations, the way that they do things scares people away.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's just the reality of things. And the Bible is super easily misinterpreted too. That's another issue, is that there's so many stories and books in the Bible. And so like, when I was first getting into religion, it didn't really mean much to me. And there was certain people that, like I said, in middle school that scared me away, and even in high school that continue. But you really have to decipher the good Christians from the bad, because we are all people and we're all sinners no matter what. So like, if you've had that resentment towards church, I would just recommend finding people that you trust, get in that good group, because they're like, we're all sinners, and it's easy to misinterpret the Bible. You read something and you're like, oh, Christians hate the LGBTQ. Christians hate, you know, what's something controversial? And it's really just not true. Certain Christians might say they hate, but in reality, we all make mistakes, and it says in Romans, like, we are not to judge. Like, we who sin, how can we judge each other,
and
right?
if we do judge, we're only called to judge with righteous and, you know,
godly
judgment. And if we're not praying before we, and like, and that's not obviously saying, like, you know, when they're saying even the Bible, like, when it does like allow you, it's not even saying, you know, like, go ahead, you know, that's completely like, and that's how people take the Bible out of context again. You know, it's not saying even with that, you know, like, don't go like on a row with a hammer and just like condemning people. No, because like that's God's job no matter what. You know, just like in that context, it would just be like talking about like calling your brother out if he's like living in sin, living in that's when you should be. But like, that's like like one thing we forget to do as Christians. We forget to leave stuff to God, because he's sort of the guy who can do everything, is the only person who can do everything.
Take your burdens.
And like we try to push everything on ourselves, like and that's, you know, why it's so important again, like whatever you're doing, like whether Bible studies or, you know, especially if like you're sharing the word with people, make sure you know what you're talking about. Don't say any lies, otherwise it can hurt people. It can like really mess up the way people think about the Bible, and even just in little ways it can like really mess up like how they view, you know, like Jesus. Yeah, no, exactly how he said it. We're all unrighteous. There's not one of us who's more righteous than another. So but it is easy. Like, if you do mess up and you do put a bad image on yourself and you're trying to teach somebody about the Bible, and you make mistakes, right? I would just make sure you get it right and make it right to that person. Part of my story and in my testimony, I was able to share this at Faith Free.
Jesus died on the cross for our sins. So forget about the mistakes you've made. We sin every day. Forget about, I did this wrong, I did this wrong. Yeah, I could fret about not preaching to Peyton while he was alive all I want, but you can't change the past. You can only reflect on it and let that impact your future. Life's a roller coaster, right? You're gonna have your high moments. You're gonna have your low moments. You're gonna have your in-between. We need to be casting our burdens on him all the time.
Earlier in January, actually, and it was great. I got up there, and it was the first time I've shared my testimony lots before, but in the last year and a half, my testimony has changed completely, and that's what we'll get into in a little bit. But it was the first time I went up there, and I didn't even look at my notes. I just let God take control, and I let it flow, and I was even skipping up and down the hallway.
You are one of one. There is not another you. God put you here with an intention, with purpose, for a reason. He didn't put you here by mistake. Sometimes I might think Max is a mistake.
What did you say? What did you say?
I'm just kidding. But he put all of us here for a reason. So just because you're not a million follower Instagram person, oh, look at me with my Starbucks coffee. And yeah, I'd love to shoot a 300-inch deer every year and show all my friends. Skipping around like, yeah, let's go, I'm on fire for God, right? Yeah, God is awesome.
You know, so it's crazy how God works with us, like for me, because I stutter so much, like I have like a lot of,
No, I get that. Me too. Stuttering all the time when I get nervous.
I have a horrible lisp. I just like, I try to like strain my voice to cover it, but I have a very bad lisp. Even when I say lisp, I still have a...
Yeah, drooling over my words sometimes. I'll get that, like your throat's dry. You're like, from the SpongeBob scene, water! I need water!
I need it!
Like, I'm sitting there like dying, and then the hardest part is when you have notes is like, I'll put hours into my notes, right? You rehearse them, you read over them, and you bring these notes, and it's like, when you type out an essay for like sharing, whether it's your testimony or sharing anything, if you're staring at it, either you have to be staring at your notes the entire time, which they teach you in any school, college, you know, public speaking, it's good to make eye contact with each other, with the camera, and it's super easy to stare at your notes, but when you're sharing your testimony specifically, you know your story better than anybody, so that's what I've found works for me. Like, there's going to be things that God wants you to say, and you're going to say, and at the end of the day, like, yeah, there might be stuff that you forget to say because you didn't look at your notes, but it might not have been something that God wanted you to say. Like, you can't go back in the past. You can't fret about, oh, I wish I would have said that, because at the end of the day, I got my point off. There was stuff that I forgot, but there was stuff that I remembered that was important, and I know my story better than Benji. Benji knows his story better than me or anybody else, so when you're looking at notes constantly, I mean, it's good to have a backbone, but when you're constantly like looking down, looking up, looking down, you'll forget where you're at, and then it doesn't flow as smoothly, is what I found out. So I was able to just like go with the flow. I know my story. It happened to me. I'm living it right now. Like,
dude, like, no, I get it. It's crazy. And for like what I know though is like both our testimonies like touch people. I noticed like one of the number one things that made it special though is like you were emotional, and like I also saw other people who were listening get emotional. And that's what, like, when you're emotionally delivering your testimony, when you show that it means so much to you that, you know, like, I mean, as a guy, I mean, like it's always gonna be a philosophy, you know, like
guys can't show emotion. You can't be sensitive, and I get into that in my specific page. I really recommend checking out some of those. I make a lot of shorts. Benji's the YouTube guy. You know, I'm trying to get into the podcast. I'm going to have to get him to teach me, but I make a lot of those shorts on like how guys need to open up. Guys need to be more vulnerable.
Mental health is so important. There's not enough focus on it. There's a huge stigma on it, especially for guys. And I just want to end that stigma today. And I want to let everybody know that there is hope. There is light. Everybody is here for a reason. And so that's what this account is for. Ask yourself these 3 questions. What do you live for? What do you love? And what is your purpose? My goal is to be able to spread this account and be able to shed light on mental health, give some good positive mentality, feedback, DM me for help if you're struggling with suicidal thoughts or depressions and you just need somebody to reach out to. This is the account perfect for you. Maybe one day I'll be able to speak at schools, share my story, share my testimony and what I've been through. That's the goal. And be able to do some podcasts for you guys with different people that have also struggled with mental health and what they've overcome and like the journey, because it is so important and there needs to be more of a light on it. And
it's good to be sensitive and have emotions, whether it's laughing, whether it's crying. Like, you hold that stuff in and it builds up inside of you.
No, and it's just like almost like similar to an addiction. It's just like it makes you want to like distance yourself from everybody. Makes you just want to like suffer on it alone. And just like the more it builds up, it's just the worse it gets. So like, you know, like we're gonna be going into a little bit more in Braden's story, how much it built up for him, because like, you know, he just had trouble surrendering it.
It's been like my whole life, honestly. So I feel that, and that's how it is for a lot of guys. And there is a stigma. I mean, it's bad for everybody, right? Mental health's not getting better. The world's not getting any easier, but, you know, for guys specifically, especially for guys in trades, I'm going in for civil engineering, so land surveying, and like nobody talks about that. We're supposed to be these tough, you know, construction workers out there, you know, we don't have feelings, stuff like that, but you know, there is the help out there, and I think it's just guys choosing not to get the help, because that's what I did. I didn't want to like give out my emotion, because the stigma is that guys don't have the help, and that's what it used to be 5 years ago, but nowadays they do. It's just we choose not to get it because we're supposed to be these big tough warriors that don't ever have anything happen to us, right? So
just like you know, in Braveheart, or you know, like Macbeth, just like running out there with your Scottish sword, just charging at people, taking 5 blows, like getting your lung pierced, and just picking yourself back up and just going. You know, that's like the impression like we get what we have to be. But here's the reality: like you don't just pick yourself up easily.
Yeah, no, exactly. And stuff's gonna happen. You're gonna fall down. Life's like a roller coaster. I describe it as like you're gonna have your high moments, you're gonna have your low, and you're gonna have your in between. When you're down low, you just have to remember that you are gonna get up here. When you're really high, it might, like, you're gonna fall down, and that's why you have to, like, for me, it's always been relying on God to catch me. And there was times where I didn't have that, and like we'll get into that and how I like strayed away. But at the end of the day, he ended up catching me at my lowest of lows. And I think of it kind of like you said, Braveheart. I'm thinking of like Batman over here. Like we've got this dark soul, right? We're like, oh, Batman, and then we're like sitting here like fighting crime, saving. Like we're like depressed, but then we're still like feeling like we gotta have carrying all the weight on our shoulders. You know, the double life. No,
it's like I talk about this a lot, but ever since COVID-19. Like, we didn't just start carrying a physical mask. We started carrying a mental mask that we're still wearing. I mean, like, not only did mental health just spike at an amazing, like, rate as it does in decades, pretty much. And just, like, it just obviously makes sense. People are dying. Everything's going low. But still, even now, I see so many people just still stuck in that stigma from, you know, COVID-19. Like, everybody who's been through it, you know, we both been through it. You know, everybody from Gen Z and pretty much, you know, really experienced it in a heavy way. So it's just like this, you know, stigma we still have, that we still need to be cooped up and, you know, by ourselves and, you know,
rely on technology. Yeah, the COVID industry really crushed a lot of people in a big age group, because you've got like COVID happened when I was 8th grade, and 9th grade is when it hit for me. I'm not sure for Benji, but it affected like everybody in school, because you saw a huge transformation of like, you're home with your parents all the time. You're not in school. You're using technology for school. So like the younger age kids, like we're still going to see hits from COVID 10 years from now, because like the first, second graders, whatever they were, that had to switch like complete virtual, like, you know, when your brain's still developing and you go from learning from paper to now everything's on your mom's phone, or your mom's buying you a phone at 5 years old, and you've got an iPad, a Chromebook, crazy. Whatever. And like, you see this huge transformation, and now like I'm in college, and now AI has exploded in the last 3 years. You've got Snapchat, like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube's been around, but they're just exploding since COVID. And there's good things and bad things, like, but you really see mental health taking a toll with all of this explosiveness and technology. Here's my big fat dog coming in here because she's hearing on this subject, and she's like, I gotta say something.
Steal the spotlight here.
Hey, get over here. You know, the dating games have even changed, and I see a lot of like mental health relying on like the dating game, and like you used to meet people in person, you meet friendships in person, and now it's like, oh, Snapchat me or something like that.
Yeah, now like dating's becoming just nothing but a lust at this point, because like
Exactly.
if you like a girl, you want to snap her for a few weeks, you're just snapping it,
and you're like, I could be snapping 10 chicks at once, right? Like, it's only snapping, right?
That's like funny, like when you're like, probably 5th or 6th grade, obviously you've got no term of what, but then like once you're getting to high school and you're still doing that, like, that's gonna just showing problems for the rest of your life, because, when you're already unable to have the consistency of one girl, like, how are you supposed to do it, like years later when you're actually having an serious relationship? It's not gonna get any easier for people like that too.
Exactly. You see this huge transformation. So anyway, like, you gotta stick around to hear my story. Like, I don't mean to boast. Everybody has your own story, right? And it's not like, when you hear this story, it is emotional, it is hard, and I don't want anybody to feel like, wow, like there's no such thing as his testimony is more explosive or emotional than mine, because it's just what happened to me. But like, everybody has the same explosive testimony. It's just how it applies to the listeners. So like, I do advise you to stick around, because it is good, and I feel like it might relate to a lot of other people. And, if you're struggling, it's really going to hit close to home, because I know, like, if I was one of you guys and somebody else was me sharing it, it would have really helped me about a year ago when I was going through everything. So.
And here's the cool things, guys. Like, if your testimony stopped when you got saved, then like there's like no point in me and Braden even sharing anything. For me, my whole story would have ended like 10 years ago when I got saved at Sunday school. If that's like when you're
Hey, shut up! Sorry about that. Yeah.
Clips.
Yeah, that's why there's editing, right? Nope. And Coda came down here to visit. She's very into this testimony, probably more than some of the viewers.
Again, your story, your testimony, it never ends, because your life is going to continue on. Every single person is going to face their trials, their struggles in their life, and that's another just addition to your testimony. It's going to keep on growing. So if you might not think you have a interesting testimony, just look a little bit back at the highlights of your life, and God's going to use it in mighty ways. So
jumping into Knoxville then on that big mission trip, that was a lot of fun. What was that? My junior year of high school? Benji would have been like 4th grade.
Okay. I was going into 7th grade. So.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it felt like 4th grade.
It's okay. Like, I was like in 7th grade. I was like, well, like,
he was the normal middle schooler. Everybody goes through it. When I could show you guys a picture of me when I was in youth group as a 8th grader, and I'm like, my style of clothes was elite. Like, the most insane. Like, take Max's style now and multiply it by 2. Like,
just Braden, send me some pictures of Max so we can give people reference.
Yeah. We'll have to send them like the one of him in the pool.
For my brand new channel, Unshakably Inspired Content, that is going to be out on the 28th of March. Like, we could just like make that as one of our videos. We just some Max compilation.
Yeah, we'll do like different funny videos I have of him that I found deep in my camera roll.
That'd be so funny for like
caught Max lacking, ultra 4K 3D.
Sometime we need, like in the summer possibly, me and him need to partner up for Unshakably Inspired Content that's going to be starting soon. And also I'm going to announce this right now. We're going to be starting our brand new Unshakably Inspired Snapchat. So that's definitely going to be another thing we're going to look for. It's going to be on everything. I'm going to start posting regularly on that. So yeah, so that's what you guys are going to have to look forward. So you can't find excuse. I'm going to be posting on every single platform. But yeah, going back in Knoxville, I did look pretty like during the trip, my height was 4'10".
I have a picture of Benji licking the wall.
Yes, dude.
We should show them that picture. I don't know. I think it was the game where it was like, what are the odds? We were playing what are the odds, and we guessed the same number. It was like, what are the odds you lick the wall?
Yeah.
And it was in the like cafeteria of this place, and I got it. It was so funny, but there was some good pictures, good memories on that trip, bad memories too. By the end of it, I think we all wanted to kill each other. Like there wasn't one of us that like we have a picture of us when we were leaving, and we looked so excited. And then when we got back to the church, they made us take a picture. We looked like we had been out on the streets for a week. Like we all hated each other. I didn't even want to talk to MP. Like I'm just like so mad and fed up. I'm I want to go home.
No, it was funny though how like much are like on our way there, our conversation was just all wild, probably just mainly talking about Max's stupid like moments, but
and Robert, Max and Robert.
Dude, like, okay, so we're setting up, and just like where we're gonna need to start. So MP's like, here, like, why don't you just sit in the front so you can get my GPS set up for me and stuff? Because like we had already gotten everybody in except for Zach, and Zach just comes in like expecting to get the front seat. That was just the funniest thing. But that was also part of the agreement. I had to sit in the middle of Max and Robert during the rest of the trip. So I was like,
well, he was the youngest, so we forced it upon him, so he didn't have an option.
Yeah, no, this guy, he chucked me into a lake that he told me was 8 feet deep, but it ended up being
I forgot about that.
8 feet deep.
So we got one free day. So basically, like, the other thing about this trip is they told us we were going to be working construction. So I packed like dirty jeans,
I did too,
work gloves, work shoes. Like, I'm thinking we're building decks. I'm like thinking we're building anything, and then we get there and they're like, so actually you're going to be going to old summer schools and working with kids from 1st grade to 5th grade. And I'm like, great. And I made some good connections. Like at first I was like, dang, we got to go work with kids. Like I'm dressed for construction, but it ended up being 10 times better. Like the connections we made with those kids, like, and I don't want to boast again here, but I do think it was very impactful. Like those 4 days we were there, like we went to 3 different locations. So we went Monday, we were at a location. We went back to that location on Wednesday, and then Tuesday and Thursday we were in different spots. And it was so much fun. I would love to do another mission trip. It was called Thrive. Shout out Thrive and what they do down in Knoxville, Tennessee, because that was great. There's people that work there full time in the summertime. And like the games were great. The education was great. I'd, sit there, you teach people how to read, you help them with math. Robert couldn't help them read.
That was the funniest thing. So he's like, okay, so we're like, since obviously I wasn't like gonna be asked to help with the middle schoolers, I was just like with the 1st graders. So like me, Robert, and Max, like
I was in there too.
Yes, and Braden. I'm sorry, I forgot. Like, so I was 4, right? So this little kid, this 1st grader, is like, "How do you spell survive?" And he went, "Oh well,
and then he looks over at me and he goes, "Braden, how do you spell survive?" And I'm like, buddy, me and Max had been in a classroom before, and it was so funny. We walked in, and all of we were with the 2nd graders, so it was just me and Max in the one room, and then we got the same kids in the other room. But we walked in, they're all looking at us. We introduce ourselves. First kid raises his hands, and he goes, "Is that your dad?" Max is 7 months older than me. Like, we're stepbrothers, and he goes, "Is that your dad?" And I'm like, no. And then they're like, "He looks like he's 40. He was 17 at the time." We were both 17, and they're like, "He looks like he's 40. And then I'm like, "How old do we think he is?" And then the youngest age somebody said was like 32. There was kids that are like 60, 55. They were like flaming him, and I'm sitting here dying. Like 2nd graders just flaming Max, and like kids are ruthless. But shout out Max and Robert. We're not hating on you. There was funny moments from all. But on Friday we went to the quarry. That was our free day. So we went hiking in the quarry.
Yes, I got so many good pictures.
Yeah, so many good pictures. We got a video. MP is actually deathly afraid of snakes, so we went to the.
I still got that snake.
Yeah,
too.
we went to the pro shop and I bought a fake snake and hid it. And we were walking on the trail and I pointed it out to MP and he's like, "Ugh!" And I went and I quickly grabbed it because I knew it was fake, and I chased him down this path, and he's like full on like running from me. I've never seen him. He was like moving quick, and I'm like, "It's fake." He's like, "Braden, you better not touch me with that thing." And then we went kayaking in the quarry, and those were great memories. And then, like Benji said, I ended up lying to him about the quarry it was like 80 feet deep in the swimming area. It got up to like 300 out in the middle. And like, it was clear water, but you could not see like all the way to the bottom. And I'm like, Benji, it's only 8 feet deep, because he wasn't great at swimming yet. And so
I'm still not great at swimming yet.
so me and Zach threw him into the quarry, and he actually swam fine. And then after we were in the car, we told him that it was 80 feet deep. We're like, Benji, if you drown, it's only 8 feet. We'll be able to get you. Like, if you start sinking, there's people here that'll dive down and get here. There was not. If he would have sunk, he was gone. Like, Benji, R.I.P. 2023, died in a quarry, and I would have been convicted of like 3rd-degree murder or something like that.
Well, it would have only been Zach though, because you were still a minor.
Yeah, I would have just probably went to juvie or something like that, throwing Benji in 80-foot quarry with intentions to have fun, but ends up dying.
No, like going back to that though, like for district sideshow, people are gonna know what I'm talking about. But you know how like in like MP's son way back then, Daddy wants you to be this way forever. Over. Yep. For that, I literally posted a picture of you and Max right next to each other, and I said, and I post like a comment like box like for like Max, is that my son? That was like, people were dying in laughter after seeing that.
Yeah. No kidding.
That's so funny.
I remember the water balloon fight was a lot of fun too. We got to do a water day with one of the like schools, and we did a bunch of challenges, and then at the end we were just drilling each other with water balloons. We were all soaking wet, but the whole experience was awesome. Sleeping in the gym wasn't ideal. The air mattress sucked. Benji was sick, and he got me so sick. That was another reason that I was mad. It's because I had just gotten over being sick like 2 weeks before. We showed up there. Benji's just deathly sick.
Yeah, my face went pale. Like, while you guys were gone, like, I actually passed out for about 4 or 5 minutes. Like, Max just comes in. He's like, what the heck is wrong with you? Like, and they just all start praying for me. And then just, like, Zach, like, walks in, just like says something so awkward that everybody's bursting in laughter where everybody's praying for me. That's just the funniest thing.
Yeah, and the farting was bad too on that trip in the gym. We were all trapped in this gym, and the flying squirrel from Zach running full speed at Robert while he's laying on the air mattress, and then he just goes flying squirrel and makes some screeching noise, and then just jumps at him like this and lands on him. That was a great trip.
And then
MP actually blamed you. I heard somebody fart in the middle of the night. I swore it was Benji. And MP like a week later told me that it was him, and he just went along with the fact that it was Benji. I'm like, so we were just flaming Benji, but
I ended up getting flamed so much like on the way back for that. That was just the popular meme. And then like at the end, he tells me, "Oh yeah, thanks Benji for like taking like the whole
blame." Yeah.
And then he ends up telling everybody else like 3 weeks later.
The jamming sessions were great too. Shout out Becky G singing in the shower.
Sydney, shout out to Sydney for putting up with a whole bunch of guys, nothing but guys during the whole thing.
No kidding. Shoot, what did you say?
Church clap. That was like,
that was ruining church clap for Robert's life. Yeah, that's great. Every time it comes on now, Robert hates it. So, and we won't go into why. We won't explain that one.
No. All I can say is like MP's joke about that will always remain.
That was so funny. But that's an inside story. That's for the real ones that know. So,
plus, I don't have to like, since it's not a swear word, I don't have to like cover your mouth too.
All right.
Oh my god.
How about we talk about districts?
Oh yeah, no, districts, that is an absolute highlight for me. I love going to districts every single year. I've been there, let me think, this is my 4th year now. This guy's, how many years have you gone?
Fourth year. Me and you's first year was like the same time.
No.
Dan Leanne was our first guy. Dan Leanne
was absolutely
Benji's twin. They look the exact same.
She just like go bald.
Oh my gosh, is that Dan Leanne? No way, he's here.
She just gets,
whoa,
dude, that's so funny though. Like just like him, like I mean, it would just be like me, just like here, just like. He's just walking around, like, just filming, just picking it.
Whoa, I might have a bald spot on my head. We can't get away. I'm putting my hood on now.
You got done. No, that was absolutely hilarious. No, like for that,
I might have to go get a bunch of packets of mail because Dan Leanne loves Chick-fil-A mail. We have a picture of him with an entire bag of it. So Dan Leanne was great. That was our first year. Nothing will beat my first year districts.
no.
Nothing.
The worship was awesome. And then actually, I went to a couple years ago. I went to Blackhawk Church, and I actually met Hannah Boosie, Hannah Boosie. I forgot. I'm sorry, Hannah. If you're just randomly watching this, but yeah, she's the lead pianist, and like it was so cool to meet her because she like works at Blackhawk Church. You know, they're down in Madison. So
yeah, that's great. This year's district's not nearly as fun.
Yeah.
Still good, but unfortunately we're put in overflow, which you could tell the vibes weren't the same. And I'm a big Packers fan. Benji's wearing a Green Bay Packers hat, so obviously he's a big Packers fan. Districts this year happen to fall on Packers versus Bears wild card weekend, and all I can say is the Bears still suck. I don't care that they beat us. They got their glory. It was their Super Bowl. Yeah, I was definitely watching that game during districts on that Saturday night. Benji and them, I'm sorry. I'm a sinner, right? We're sitting in here Saturday night, and we're in the overflow. Had we been in the big room, I wouldn't have been on my phone, right? I'm a youth leader this year because I'm graduated.
So he's got to be more responsible.
Yeah. And if we were down like last year, they brought me in as a youth leader last minute because I really needed to go. I called Jeremy literally 2 days before, and I was bawling my eyes out. I'm like, Jeremy, I'm struggling. I need to go. So they got me in. It was great. This year, Jeremy asked me 2 months in advance. I went, and looking forward to it. Then they put us in overflow, which is upstairs, completely detached from everybody else. I find out that the Packers are playing Bears during primetime rally. Like, the first 2 hours of the game was during the rally. Nobody else got to watch it. I was still paying attention. Like, I was worshiping, but I did have the game on my phone, and I would occasionally look down to see Romeo Doubs catching a touchdown.
I miss Romeo so much. They should just have like a call-out person, just be like, Braden, in section 20D, you are watching the Packers game, not focusing. Please turn all your phone and turn off your notifications, please. Thank you.
Yeah, up front they were like, on the screen they were saying, I know there's a big game going on, but let's try to put our phones away. And I'm like looking around like, oh well. I had it hidden in my hat perfectly. Like, I wasn't watching the whole time. Yeah, nobody even knew. Benji,
I was sitting like 2 seats away from him. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, he didn't even know. That's how sneaky I am over here, but I exposed myself. I wasn't watching the whole game, but I definitely saw it. And I'm sitting here. There's Bears fans there. They're talking mad smack. I'm hyped. We're up 21-3. I'm running through the hall, just chanting, the Bears still suck. The Bears. And
we're gonna run through the halls and just chant that. It got ruined.
We had that game locked down, and we were in Green Bay. Districts is in Green Bay. We never included that. I go to college in Green Bay. Like, this is a huge game. We barely lost to him the last time because of Romeo Doubs. Fumble, recovery on the
Romeo
onside
Doubs
kick.
almost helped us win this game, but then...
And the play calling by Matt LaFleur, terrible. I can't believe they extended him. I don't think he's a bad head coach, but he should not be calling the plays. He could be our head coach, but we need to bring in an offensive coordinator. Like, what are we doing here?
Adam Stenovich is not it.
Bring in a new offensive coordinator. We finally got rid of Rich Bisaccia. Our special teams was awful, but we lost that game. And I was decked out in Packers game. Benji could show a picture. Like, I was wearing the Packers pajama overalls with my Jordan Love Pookie jersey.
Yeah.
Shout out Jordan Love. Love you.
Hey, I've even had Donald Driver comment on my videos, so who knows?
Yeah, and then I had my Cheesehead hat on, and we lost. I would never disrespect the J Love jersey because he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
I respectfully put that away into the bag, but the rest of the Packers gear got thrown on the ground.
Emotional damage.
I was so mad, and I still am going to rep the Packers. I think they have a good chance this year. Micah Parsons is going to be healthy, but being in Green Bay and then having to listen to the razz from the Bears fans that I was literally razzing before that,
it was that was awful. You played baseball in high school?
Yeah, I did indeed play baseball in high school. I sound bummed about that because my experience playing baseball in Cadet kind of sucked. Should have transferred. No offense to Cadet baseball, but baseball for me, I grew up playing baseball. I love baseball. I wasn't always the best player. I knew I wasn't great. I mean, I'm playing for a D3 school, right? And I was originally going to be playing for a D1 school. I knew I wasn't going to make it there. I grew up a little chubbier, so I had to really get in shape for baseball to have any sort of shot. But I've grown up. I love watching football. I couldn't play football because of that bike accident that I had. And so I started running cross country. I shot archery and I played baseball. And baseball, I've just always loved playing it, but I lost a lot of confidence, and it might not have even had anything to do with Cadet. It was myself. I was going through a lot. And playing baseball, like, I just lost my spark. My sophomore year, I played on JV, and I was great. Like, I was smoking the ball. I was constantly on base. Like, my batting average was through the roof, and I looked like I was going to have a good year getting moved up to varsity my junior and senior year. We got a new coach. It was a big transition for me. And actually, it really caused me to struggle with my mental health baseball because it was so stressful for me. But, I mean, I wish I could go back and play, but it just...
He's a professional coach pitch softball player.
Yeah. Well, LLP this year, Live, Love, Purpose softball this summer.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I'm starting that, so that'll be big for us.
I wish I could join.
Yeah, 18 plus. Unfortunately, Benji's only 12, so we're not going to be able to.
I'm 12?
I'm
12.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy. No, I'm just
6
joking,
more
man.
years for Benji over here, but yeah, baseball was it was an interesting time. I feel like I made some good connections. I always had the heart. I just didn't have the talent for it, and my confidence was at an all-time low because of things. But I shot archery, and that was great. I got to go to nationals twice, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
4-time state champions, placed in the top 10, once for nationals as a team, obviously not individual. And then cross country, I won most improved runner my senior year. I never thought I'd be big into cross country, but the team energy was great. I really enjoyed doing it. And this last year, first year I'm out of high school, of course, they are just a great team. And so I've actually been in touch with a coach about possibly assisting with the team, not
that'd be cool.
under any paid or anything like that, but just come back to Cadet for cross country. Love that. And then, like I just said, I've been doing slow pitch softball through a church league for the last 2 summers now. This will be year 3. Last year was great. I was playing lights out. I was tied for first on the team with batting average.
Well, I would hope so when the ball's only going 10 miles per hour.
Okay. Well, it's a lot harder than you think because...
No, it is. It's weird when you see the ball go 20 feet up in the air, it just drops down.
Yeah, and then you have 4 outfielders and not 3. So there's not nearly as many gaps. And some of those old guys, bro, that have been playing for 30 years, crazy good. My team last year, I will sell us out a little bit. We only won 1 game, but it was the most epic win ever. And it was because, like, all of us had been playing baseball. Like, everybody on the team had been a baseball player at some point. You'd think we'd be great, right? We're all young, prime out of baseball, but it's so much different when you're swinging at a ball that's going 70 mile an hour here, and you're, like, used to the mechanics here, and then you go into slow pitch. The timing is way different, plus you got to make contact up here, and it's, like, completely different. And, you know, the field's still almost just as big, but you have 4 outfielders, and, you know, you're playing guys that play for 20 years, and they just smoke home runs all day long, so it's hard to win. Like, our fielding was good, our batting was but it's a lot of fun. Sports are huge for me, and sports are great for mental health. Just getting outside is great.
Running sports are absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I was big into running. I actually was training for a marathon last year. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do it. We'll probably get into that, of why that didn't happen. But I was running every day, training my butt off for that marathon. Running has always been huge. I'm big into golf now. Golfing's, I would say it's relaxing for me, but I'm a subpar golfer.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Subpar? Like, I don't actually get par. Like, I'm just an okay golfer. I'm a mediocre golfer, and I tend to get really angry when things don't go my way. There's definitely been some clubs thrown. There's been golf balls chucked into lakes, ponds.
Give me 25 attempts, and I might get in the hole.
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. Like, I'm awful at golfing. I just suck so bad at that. So.
But the memories made golfing, I've got great memories. Golfing with my friends is great. So,
No.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, like, it's cool you mentioned that. Like, actually, I started, like, running 3 miles a day. Like, that's amazing how much you change. Like, I went from, like, running, like, a 30 minute, like, 3 mile to, like, getting it down to, like, 24 minutes already in just a few weeks. So
No, it is crazy with practice. I was probably about the same.
Yeah.
I was about a 30-minute 3 mile,
yeah,
30-minute 5K, 3.1. And
Yeah.
then, like, in high school, I won most improved runner because I would, like, I was PRing almost every race. Like, I was even struggling with some minor injuries, like my Achilles and my knees and my hips. That's why I'm not running as much this year. I'd like to get back into it, but
I love it. Yeah,
it's just so hard on my legs.
I get it. Yeah.
Not even that I'm old. It's just when you do it over and over again. But I run, and I got down to like a 22-minute 5K, 3.1 miles, which isn't like amazing, but I felt pretty good about myself.
Yeah.
No,
if you get that down to like a 17:30, that would be really good.
No, I'm way out of that. It's too late for me now, but running's great. You know, when you're struggling with something, and for me, like, I have anger issues, so running was always good because, like, I'd have a bad day at school or something, or somebody would say something. You go for a run and you're angry. Like, when you're panting and, like, completely drained of energy, how can you be mad? Like, if you run 3 miles, it gives you so much time to think. You're burning your energy, your anger. You're outside. Running outside is so much better than being on the treadmill. And then it's like, how can you be mad? Like, you just burned everything that you have.
Is that Max's, like, gum from, like, 2 years ago?
It looks like a Subway wrapper.
You know,
Max is probably, like, their number one supporter.
You get the stomach tattoo. Just get the full-on stomach tattoo.
I went to Subway today, actually, so I shouldn't even be hating. It was good.
No, Subway's good. Like,
the steak sandwich was so fire.
I guess now that we've gone through all that, why don't we start getting into, like, you know, you, like, going to college and stuff, and, like, leading up to, like, you know, where we're gonna, you know. So, guys, this is especially important.
Lock in!
This is what you guys have all been, well, just about what you guys have all been waiting for. We're just gonna talk a little bit leading into that, but yeah, we're getting, like, really close to really intense parts, so make sure you're watching.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go right into it. So, basically, throughout high school, like I said, when I became a Christian, like, I was a youth leader, everything like that. Like, church was great, but I struggle with something that a lot of Christians struggle with, and it's called being a lukewarm Christian. There's plenty of verses in the Bible that talk about it. I have some in my phone. I'm blanking, like, what they are because I'm, like, nervous right now.
Yeah, it's like Luke, it talks about, you know, like, just many people say, you know, Lord, Lord, I knew you, but, you know, Jesus will reply, I never knew you, go away.
Yeah, and then there's the verse where it's like, I don't want you to be hot nor cold.
Revelation, yeah.
Yeah, Revelations.
Revelation 3
because I'll spit you out my mouth, you know.
Yeah.
That one always sticks out to me, but I struggle with being a lukewarm Christian. So, like, I was on fire for God when I was at youth group, whatever it was, and then when I would be done with youth group, I'd go back to my friends, you know, some of my other friends that weren't really religious, and I'd go back to swearing, you know, sinning, whatever it was that I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
And after I graduated high school, I you know, started doing a Bible study, actually, and I started going to a church in Eau Claire more intensely, and I was talking to my cousin-in-law now, actually. At the time, he wasn't, and I was like, I really want to start doing this Bible study and learn more about the Bible, because there's a certain group of friends that I had known since kindergarten that I wanted to be able to share the Bible with and, like, you know, help them, because I knew they were struggling, and they had helped me when I was struggling with my parents' divorce. And it was one friend in specific that I was talking about, because, like, I knew he believed. I went to youth group with him, but there was times where he said he was atheist, and you know, and I knew his parents had gotten divorced. I knew he was possibly struggling, and when I would see him, I would never preach the gospel. I would drink with him or whatever it was that we were doing, partying, getting drunk, whatever it was, instead of sharing the Bible. And it wasn't even that I was a big partier, it was that I was afraid that I was going to lose him as a close friend. And so I had this conversation, and it was literally the week that I had made my decision to go to Green Bay. So I go to Green Bay for orientation. It's great. I'm super excited about going. The very next day, it would have been July 25th, 2024. I had been talking to my friends. We were going to go to Altoona Beach. We were going to go for a swim. It was going to be a great day. I was at the movie with my dad and my one buddy, Peyton, and my other buddy, Peyton. I have two friends named Peyton. I was with my dad and my one buddy, Peyton, and my other buddy, Peyton, that I knew from like kindergarten. I had been literally texting him that we were going to go to Altoona Beach, and we finished the movie. I'm in the parking lot, and I get a call from my best friend, Logan, that I've known since kindergarten, and he goes, "Bro, you need to get to the hospital right now. Like, Peyton was in a bad accident, not the one I was just with, the one that I was going to meet. And it doesn't look good. He might be dead," is what he said, in quotes. He goes, "It doesn't look good. He might be dead." I immediately like dropped my phone in shock, and I started crying, and I was like, "Okay, I'll get there right away. I'm in Chippewa." So I called my dad and my other buddy Peyton. I'm like, "Can you come back and pick me up? We need to go to the hospital. Peyton Lease is possibly, like, he got into a bad crash." He drives a motorcycle, and I knew that's what the crash was going to be on. I didn't like that he got the motorcycle, but it is, what it is. Actually, I didn't even not like it because I had always talked about getting a motorcycle, but now I hate the thought that he has one, because when you're on those crotch rockets and you get... So anyway, we drive to the hospital, and there's tons of people there. I get out of the car. His parents are there. Logan comes up to me, hugs me. We're sobbing, and I'm just like, "Where is he? Like, is he in the hospital? Is he okay?" And he's like, "We haven't heard anything." All of his friends are there. Like, Braden Denzine, I remember, was literally in a full suit because he had probably come straight from work. Like, everybody dropped what they were doing and was at the hospital. There were so many people there. And I just remember, like, it was such a daze. And I called some of my other buddies, Brody and Parker, and was like, "Yeah, you need to get to the hospital. Like, it's not looking so good." And we had no clue what was happening. I still thought he was alive and had hope. And I went up and I actually hugged his mom that I've known since I was 5 years old. Like, Peyton was such a close friend to me that I had his home phone remembered back when I didn't have a cell phone, when I was a little kid. Like, I had it. It was one of those few numbers that I had dialed into my brain. Like, I would call his number to hang out. He lived 2 blocks from me. Like, during COVID, me, Logan, and Peyton we were the trio. We went and hung out in Eau Claire, biked around to the parking garage, whatever it was. And so I'm hugging his mom, and the cop came up, and they can't legally say, like, he's gone or something like that, but they were like, "You need to start looking for funeral homes." And I just remember, like, first of all, my heart sunk. Like, that's the feeling, like, my best friend is dead. Like, this is somebody that would have been standing up in my wedding, no doubt. Like, it's one of those friends that you're like, you picture like your life down the road, and like you're telling your kids, and you're like, "Yeah, Uncle Peyton," like one of those friends, like you refer to it, or like you're talking about your best friend Peyton, and like, and how he was so epic, and the stories you have, like, that's how close of a friend. Like, I would have raised my kids to get to know his kids, and like he would have stood up in my wedding. Like, we were that close. And even though we kind of distanced apart during high school, like, we always had that relationship. Like, we didn't have to talk every day. We didn't have to hang out all the time to know that he had my back. And his mom, I remember just like the screams into my ear, like, and her crying, like, and she just squeezed me so tight, and I'm holding her, and I'm just like, I don't even remember if I cried in that moment or what, but I walked back to Logan and I bawled, and I'm like, "He's gone, bro. Like, he's not coming back." And it literally, like, the hospital where we were at, Like, you could basically hear the ambulances. You could hear like, they were right down the road.
Yeah.
Like, Peyton had crashed literally on the same road that the hospital, it was on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire. And they wouldn't even bring him there because he was so damaged that they had to fly him straight to Rochester or whatever for autopsy. I don't need to go into so much detail, but yeah, this is the worst day of my life. Like, it was so hard, like, getting that news. And that night, like, a group of us stayed at my mom's house. We didn't sleep at all. We tried to watch funny movies to, like, get through it, but, like, I bawled so much to the point, like, my head hurt. My dog dropped a bone up there, but my head, like, was throbbing because I'd been crying so much. Like, when you look at the news and you hear about people dying, like, all the time you see people that got murdered or in a car crash or whatever, and you're like, oh, that's sad, right? That person died. But then you go right back to your daily life, and then it happens to somebody that you actually know, somebody close to you. Like, he was a brother to me. He wasn't just a friend. He was my brother. I would actually tell them that I loved him. Like, I love him. I love Logan. I love a lot of people. I'm a very emotional, sensitive guy, and, like, now he's gone. And it just hits you, like, how short-lived life can be. Like, and you can't take it for granted. So a week after he passed, we had his funeral, and it was so hard. It had to be a closed casket, but I actually got to see him. Me and the other pallbearers. I was a pallbearer, and just seeing him, and he looked completely different. It really, like, scarred me. Like, I remember everything about visiting him, and then, like, I was 18 years old, and I had to carry my friend's casket. Like, that's something that nobody wants to say. So after that happened, I had already committed to going to school in Green Bay. So literally a week and a half after the funeral, then I got in a car, moved to my grandparents' house, 30 minutes outside of Green Bay, into the middle of nowhere. Like, Cadott is the middle of nowhere. Divide that in half. I lived in the middle of nowhere. Like, in just this dead zone, 30 minutes from Shawano, Wisconsin, 30 minutes from Green Bay, 30 minutes from Appleton, and 30 minutes from New London, just in the dead center of all of them.
Dude, we are gonna have so many funny, like, I usually try to post like 7 like shorts a week. Like, we're gonna just like double that this week. Like, that's gonna be crazy. Because, like, usually, like, sometimes it's so hard to find them. Like, I'll have to make, like, ones, like, where I got scammed on X 100 times or something like that, where I'll post like that.
Yeah, no kidding. But anyway, so I lived in this dead zone. I moved there. My grandparents own a cabin in Minocqua, so they're gone all the time, and then they go to Arizona in the winter. And this house, literally, my bedroom has one outlet in the entire bedroom. Like, that's how old this house is. 300 years old. Has a radiator in it. There's no AC. In the first month that I was there, of course, it was like 90 degrees, and I'm sitting, like, I had to go stay at my aunt's house down the road because it was so hot. I can't express to you how hot it is. So I'm living in this old house. I start school, right? New place, new people, and I'm just trying to make new friends and hide the loss of my friend. But nobody knew me. Nobody knew what I had been going through, so I just didn't talk about it. I was in a relationship at the time. I had met her right before, and we started dating after. And she knew about it, but I didn't really talk about it at first. I was holding in my feelings like a lot of guys do. I went through the motions of school, and I kind of just used school to block out what I was struggling with, because college is hard. You have a lot of homework. So I'd be at school all day. My first semester was fine because I had such a hard workload that I didn't have to think about what happened to Peyton. And it more felt like, you know, because he was going to be going off to the Air Force. I was gone in college. It felt like it was like he was still alive, but I wasn't going to be seeing him as much. You know, like, I hadn't talked to him. Like, I actually would look at my phone just hoping he would snap me, just waiting for a text message or anything. So as the year went on, I started to grieve a lot more. I started to cry a lot. I started to rely on my girlfriend too much. I took her almost. I filled the hole of losing Peyton with her instead of filling it with God. I completely cut God out of my life. I was mad because, like I said, I had talked about like 2 weeks before doing a Bible study. Well, Peyton was the person that I wanted to be able to, like, understand things because I wanted to be able to be there for my friends, and he was one of those friends, and I felt like I failed him. And honestly, when I first found out that he passed away, I thought that there was a chance that he wouldn't go to heaven. And there's a chance that all of us don't go to heaven. So I'm not saying that he was a bad person. He's a great kid. I love him. He was my brother. But like, we all did dumb things, and I didn't know where he stood with God. So immediately I'm like, well, if he went to hell, then I'm to blame. So I started blaming myself. And as the year went on, I just, like, the guilt got so bad, and it just kept getting worse. And every time I came home from Green Bay to the Eau Claire area, I would get those constant reminders of him, and I would just, like, I was crying every night, and I was all alone at my house. Like, eventually my workload got a little bit easier, which was bad because I'd get home from school and I was in the middle of nowhere. I didn't have any friends to hang out with. Like, I had my friends at school, but because I went to a tech school, we all lived so far away from each other that we didn't hang out. They all had jobs. I didn't have one over there. So, like, if my girlfriend was busy and I couldn't rely on hanging out with her, I would be all alone, and I would just cry, and like, it was getting so bad. And as the year went on, we get into the spring, I started going to a doctor. They were going to try and put me on meds, and they put me on something called venlafaxine, which is an antidepressant med. And, you know, I'm not against meds even as a Christian. Like, some people need them, but like, long term, obviously God is to, you know, I prefer relying on him. But I was so low, and I hadn't been going to church. My girlfriend started playing softball, and so I wasn't able to hang out with her like at all. And um, without even realizing it, I had started developing a plan in my head of how I would take my life and commit suicide. And I'm like, I was never to that point. Like, everybody has bad days. Everybody has, you know, days where you're struggling, but not to the point where I was so depressed that I didn't want to be alive. But I'm like, Peyton's gone. I'm over here by myself. It's my fault. Like, why couldn't it be me? I'd ask myself all the time. I'm like, bring Peyton back, God, and take me. He's so much more fun than me. And like, I just wanted him to be back. I'm like, I can't do this without him. I failed him. I'm guilty. I failed my family. I failed my friends. I'm like, there's nothing going for me right now. And so I started taking these meds, and at first it felt really good. First week it was great, but I had still had that plan in the back of my head. And then the second week they doubled my dose, and I started getting really suicidal to the point where I went to prom with my girlfriend, and I was like puking. I think I had the flu that week, and after prom, I'd been staying at her house because I was sick, and her mom was a nurse, so she had been taking care of me. But after prom, she dropped me off at my house, and she was just going to have me stay there, and I was all alone. And we actually kind of got into a fight, and it wasn't even that I was like mad. I was just so scared of being alone because I knew what I would do to myself, and I knew that like I could be harming myself, and I didn't want to be alone, but I would never admit that. Like, I didn't talk about this with anybody. I didn't talk about it with my friends, my family, my girlfriend. Like, I just held it in, and she was like, why are you so upset? Like, talk to me, like, help me understand. And I just couldn't. Like, it was just this constant fear that I had already lost Peyton and that I was going to lose the people close to me. And I'm like, I don't want to be alone because I knew what I could do. But she ended up going home that night, and I actually, like, I was going to do it that night of prom. Like, I started taking pills, and like, I was going to take my life. And then she called me actually, and she's like, you know, you need to go upstairs, you need to go to bed. And in the back of my mind, I'm talking to her, I'm like, okay, I'd already started taking pills, so I felt like they were sleeping meds. So I was like, I felt like I had been tranquilized. A moose tranquilizer is almost the feeling. I literally had to crawl up the steps that night to get to bed because I had taken, you're only supposed to take like half a pill to a pill, and I had already taken 3. And that was the first time that I opened this. And these meds, it's called hydroxyphene. It's only supposed to be used when you're having anxiety attacks. And you like absolutely need them, like when your depression is so bad in the moment. And I took 3 for the first time, and in my head I told myself, I'm not going to take my life as long as my girlfriend is like there for me, right? Which is a terrible thing to say. I didn't mean to put that pressure on her or anybody, but it was just like an agreement I made with myself. Well, a week later, I finally told her that I was struggling. And this story is not supposed to be a backlash against me, her, or anybody. Everybody makes mistakes. I made mistakes in my life in that relationship. She made mistakes. It is what it is. It's whatever. But I had told her kind of with the hopes that she would go and tell somebody. It never happened. And then a week later, we actually broke up. She broke up with me. And when I got the text that she messaged me, she was like, "We need to talk." I knew immediately. I've been down this road. This isn't my first rodeo. Like, I knew what that message meant. I'm like, I had put everything into her, like, because, and it wasn't even in like intentional. I was doing it because I had lost Peyton, and so I put all of my hope in her instead of putting it on God. Instead of putting my burdens on God, I'm like,
Yeah.
my family was all over here in Eau Claire. She was the only thing I had over there, so it was easier for me. But I didn't realize like the damage I was causing. So when she broke up with me, I like literally dropped to my knees. I was bawling. I'm like, because I knew what I was gonna do, and I actually openly, like, I don't remember a lot from that moment, but I openly remember like saying that I was gonna do it, and it wasn't even like that I wanted people to feel pity for me or I wanted her to be like feel like a bad person. It was more that I needed to tell somebody that I was going to do it because part of me, like, you don't want to die. Nobody wants to be struggling. Nobody wants, like, deep down, I wanted to be happy, but it just wasn't there. I wanted help and I didn't know what to do. And so I drove home extremely fast, 90 miles an hour that night, just whipping it home. I kind of hoped that I would just crash. And I ran upstairs when I got home and I put on my Long Live Peyton shirt with the roses on it because that's what I wanted to die in. And I took the bottle of hydroxyphene. And like I said, I had only taken 3 pills and I dumped the entire bottle down my throat. Like, I took this entire sleeping bottle of pills. And I figured I was just going to go for a long walk and I would walk until I would fall over, walk until I couldn't move anymore. And my girlfriend's mom, ex-girlfriend now at the time, fortunately she called her and she showed up and I had the pill bottles in my hand and she's like, "What did you take? What did you take?" And then I remember bawling frantically and she called 911 and my grandparents were there. And I remember as I was walking out, like, my grandma saw me bawling and I gave her a hug and I'm like, "I'm so sorry, Grandma. Like, please forgive me for what I'm doing." And I walked out and she was like, "Come talk to me, come talk to me." My grandma's like, they're older, so they're not going to be able to catch me, right? When I was out the door, I was out the door. Nothing was stopping me from what I had done and what I was going to do and my plans. So I'm walking down the road and I ended up falling down and I was on the phone with my friend Logan and I'm like, just keep living out your life, because he was the first person I thought to call. I'm like, tell my parents, like, I didn't write a note. I was like, I'm done. I failed Peyton. I failed Aubrey. I failed my relationships in life. I failed God. And I just kept pleading and bawling. And I'm like, "God, just save me. God, just save me. Like, forgive me for doing this because committing is a bad sin." And then I just kind of blacked out. And as far as I remember, I completely stopped breathing. And my ex-girlfriend's mom had to do CPR on me. And they loaded me into the ambulance and they said between me being on the ground on the side of the road and in the ambulance, I had like 4 seizures. And like, they had to hook me up. Like, they took my shirt completely off. I had IVs all down. IVs, like pumping stuff. And like, I just remember, like, I thought I was dead. Like, I don't even think that I thought that. It's like weird. Like, I was so out of it. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking. Like, I feel like I kind of remember being in the ambulance and I remember people asking me questions and being around me and I was just babbling nonsense. But I genuinely, like, I was in so much pain. Like, my body was going numb from these meds and I'm like, it's done. Like, I thought I was dead. And I just remember, like, hearing a voice in the back of my head and I'm like, who is that? Like, what is this? And it was like, it sounded exactly like Peyton's voice. And I'm not even joking here because I know, like, some people are like, you know, making up stories, but I genuinely, it sounded just like him. And it was just like this light filled my brain. And I remember hearing the words and it was like, "Just because I'm gone doesn't mean you need to be gone too." And he's like, "I need you here, Braden. Like, there's people that need you here." And then it was like, God, like, there, and he was like, your life is not done. Your story is not over. You have a purpose.
Mhm.
And I just remember that word purpose sticking out to me. You have a purpose, right?
Mhm.
So I wake up and we're like going into the hospital now. I'm on a hospital bed, and I remember my whole mindset changed, and I like looked at the paramedic. I'm like, I don't want to die. Like, what do I have to do to, like, I know I'm struggling, but I want to live. Like, what do I have to do to get help here? And so they gave me this gigantic glass of charcoal, nasty, worst thing you could ever put into your mouth. This glass of charcoal, and they make you drink the whole thing, not at once, but I just had to keep drinking it. It was so gross.
Like, you know how big it was? Like a cup, 2 cups,
it was
3
like,
cups probably.
yeah, it was like
Oh
this
my
much,
gosh.
big glass, like,
Yeah.
just, and it was thick.
Yeah.
Just imagine this thick black. It's literally called charcoal.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll never forget what that
Like
tasted
drinking
like.
10 tubes of charcoal toothpaste in a drink.
Yeah, no kidding. And so I had to drink that, and the cops were sitting in there because, like, it's a crime to try and take your life. I was handcuffed to the side of the bed. Like, and they told me, they're like, we know you're not a bad person. We know you're not going to cause harm, but, like, this is, like, a requirement, and I'm handcuffed. I haven't been able to talk to anybody, nothing.
Yeah.
They had, like, the Brewers game was going on the TV in the hospital, and I'm still, like, out of it. Like, I can't feel my legs because they're numb from taking these sleeping meds. But I remember talking to the guy or the lady cop, and I'm like, you know, have you ever lost somebody that you loved so deeply that you just feel like your life has no point anymore? And we had a good conversation. I don't even remember what she said. I just know it was a good conversation. One of those conversations that you're like, I have no clue what's happening, but it feels right. You know?
No, well, you would have been like medically dead for a minute or two, even. For all we know.
I honestly
we don't even know
how long it was. They were surprised that I hadn't broken ribs from CPR, obviously. Like, you could have that, but, like, I could have died. Honestly, I should have, like, that whole, like, thing with Aubrey's mom being there, and, like, yeah, God saved me, but she saved me too. And, like, I don't talk to them anymore, really, but, like, I'll always be grateful for her being there and saving my life, because, like, I'm still here because of that. Had nobody been there, like, if I would have stayed up in my room, my grandparents would have came up to get me for dinner, I would have been dead. Like, nobody was going to be there. Like, I would have just been gone. And so, I remember then they told me I was going to go to a hospital, and I didn't have any clue how any of this worked because I've never been suicidal. I've never heard of it. I thought I was going to sit in that hospital for like 3 days or whatever, and it turns out they actually bring you to a mental hospital.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sit you at the hospital, yes.
So,
did they give you the insanity suit? Did you get to wear that?
No, they did not.
Oh, shoot. That would have been such a funny picture. Sorry to make this, like, obviously this is actually a very serious thing. You probably were medically dead for 1 or 2 minutes, 2 minutes. And guys, here's like a scientific check. Actually, you can go research it up. When people actually are medically dead for a couple minutes, like, they'll literally see like waves of like pure light blasting in their brain. And these are like credible sources too. These aren't just people, you know, making up stories. These are people who've been proven to be medical dead for like 4 or 5 minutes, or even people who have brain surgeries. And people have even said that they've even heard like dead ancestors like talking to them before. Like what Braden's saying, like you cannot like I would never discredit for, I mean, like when you're about to die, I don't think the first thing you're doing is making up stories.
Yeah, no, it was like so crazy and trippy, but like, because like I've heard the thing about the light too, but it was literally like you can't even describe it, like color wise, like it was just bright. I just remember like my whole like. And then all of a sudden, bam! I was just awake, and I like looked over, and I had all these IVs in me. But anyway, like my grandparents walked in when I was in the hospital. I remember breaking down, crying, and my grandma hugged me, and she goes, "You're gonna get the help you need." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, Grandma. I'm so sorry. I couldn't talk to my mom. I couldn't talk like nobody because they're all on this side of the state. Like I'm over there, and this is just such a hard story. I know, like I'm not like crying or emotional right now. I've learned, like I've shared this story so many times that like at first I would always cry when I would share this story, and now it's like I'm able to hold it in. But I was bawling. My grandma hugged me, and so they actually like after 4 hours they got me into a mental facility in Green Bay, actually called Willow Creek, and I was terrified that I was going to be going there, no clue, and they actually had to shackle me. With cuffs at my ankles and at my hands. I couldn't walk, so they had to push me in a wheelchair
Yeah.
to get me to the car, and they drove me from Appleton to Green Bay, and I get to this facility. Now I'm starting to get feeling back in my life,
Yeah.
right? So I'm waddling around like some prisoner of war, like,
Yeah.
and so I go
A
in
penguin
here.
of war.
Yeah. And I'm just terrified, right? Like, I have no clue what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
They bring me into this room and they start interrogating me, and
Yeah.
I'm like just scared out of my mind. Like, I was just
Yeah.
trying to take my life, and now here I am in this weird.
Yeah.
It's like 5 a.m. too, for reference,
Yeah.
because this whole process takes forever.
Yeah.
So it's 5 a.m. The suicide attempt happened on May 12th of 2025, so not even a year ago, at like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Maybe it was later. Maybe it was like 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And then 5 a.m, so 9 hours after the original attempt, now I'm in this room.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're going to be in here for a minimum of 3 days, which is always a lie. It's always a week or more, right?
Yeah.
They don't tell you that. And so they're like, you're going to get a roommate. Right now, you're going to go to bed. You can get up for breakfast. You'll have meals, whatever. They're explaining all this to me, and it's going in one ear, out the other. Like, I'm so far gone.
Absolutely. And like, here's the thing though, like were you worried though they'd give you like a room with an actually mentally crazy person?
I wasn't worried at the time because I wasn't even thinking about that. Like, I had no idea what this building looked like. I had no idea, like, if I was in a cell, because I was handcuffed.
Yeah.
So I'm like, am I going to be, like, literally in a jail cell? Like, what is this place?
Yeah.
Well, they ended up bringing me in. I got to call my mom, and she's bawling. I'm bawling. I'm like, Mom, I'm scared. I'm scared. Because I'm 18 at the time, so I'm supposed to be this big grown adult, know how to take care of myself. But in reality, I'm still a kid. And that's another thing, too. Because I was 18, they put me in a mental hospital with adults only. Like, if I would have been 17, I would have been with people my age. So, like, I'm in with old people. Like, no offense, but there's nobody my age there. And so they put me in this room with this guy. And he was actually from Eau Claire, which is crazy because I was from here. But I didn't talk to him for the first 3 or 4 days that I was in a room with him because he slept the entire time. Yeah. And he talked in his sleep. And so I would just be laying there, and I would just hear him talking.
Just be living like old McDuffett from Gravity Falls. You like that? Yes, dude.
Yeah, no kidding. So the whole experience was absolutely terrifying. And, like, I basically had to lie. And, like, shout out Willow Creek. Like, while I was there, I hated it because you're scared. I wanted to be with my family, wanted to get home. But, like, for the conditions I was in, the nurses were so great to me, and they were so helpful. Like, they knew I wasn't a bad person. They knew I wasn't struggling. There was actually one nurse. I was craving gummy worms, craving sugar, and they're not supposed to bring you or give you anything. Yeah. I won't say who did it, but I remember her name. She snuck me some gummy worms. Best thing ever. Yeah. Shout out them. They were great nurses. They were really there helping me, but I was terrified. I basically had to lie about my mental health to get out of this hospital, right? Like, a picture like this hospital is like a living room like this. Like, you have your wandering area, then you got your own rooms. You can do whatever you want. You could sleep all day. They feed you great. This food is top tier 3 times a day. Just delicious food. I mean, your taxes are going into places like this. I presume insurance, whatever. So you get good quality service. Yeah. And then you get therapy sessions, whatever, like you can think of. And your rooms, the mattresses were so uncomfortable, right? Yeah. They're terrible. But, like, it wasn't like a prison cell whatsoever. Like, I had free reign. They were nice to me. Yeah. Like, there was, like, 20 people in my area, but I had one roommate. But I could mingle around. I went to the therapy sessions. It helped me a bit, but my mom and sister, like, visited me on the first day, and they said they definitely knew I was on, like, drugs because I didn't blink the entire time that I was meeting with them because they, like, were giving me so many meds to try and help me and fix what I had put into my system that I literally was just staring at them like this. Like, so my whole family was there. To talk to them, you had to use a string phone on the wall, like one of those old, like, press the buttons and you can only go so far with it type phones. I was on the phone all the time because I was terrified. Yeah. There was one guy in my place, actually, who thought he was Jesus, which gave me some...
Oh, I thought you were going to say he was Murdoch.
What?
I thought you were going to say he's Murdoch.
No. He literally thought he didn't need to take meds because he was a time traveler, and him, Jesus, and God were the 3 people who could walk on water. And he was talking about this, and like, these stories, like, I don't tell everybody them, but they were crazy. There was one guy who literally paced the halls and was like singing opera music as loud as he could, and
Yeah.
I'm like sitting in my bed like,
Yeah.
shut the up. And so anyway,
Yeah, so you had Frank Sinatra there too. So.
yeah. So I was there for a week. They
Uh-huh.
only let me out because, one, I went to the therapy sessions, good behavior, right? And my mom got me some appointments. But while I was there, one of the nurses, the same one who got me the gummy worms, actually, she had a talk with me, and she's like, you don't have to let this suicide attempt define you. You don't have to let Peyton passing away define you. Do something with it. Make a difference. And so as soon as I got out, like, when I was in the hospital, I finally started reading the Bible again, because they have to give you a Bible if you request it. So I'm like, I started reading.
Good old Gideon.
I didn't have anything else to do. Sudoku, read the Bible. Sudoku, read the Bible.
Dude, Sudoku is so underrated. It is
so underrated.
It is,
bro.
dude. Like, if you like are like struggling like with focus, because especially, I mean, like scrolling down more than ever, that's like is sort of not the greatest thing in the world for our brains, even though I create content and I encourage people to scroll for me.
Yeah.
No, but
I feel
no,
the same way. I know what
no,
you're
but
saying.
it depends on the content too. For something like for something like really educational, though, that impacts different than like the brain rot junk Roblox AI storytelling soundboards that takes an old man in his basement $10.
The crazy AI videos you see nowadays,
dude. Like it literally, like I know a guy who makes $800,000 a year off of that. He spends 20 minutes a day working. And he literally just lives in an apartment, like a really nice apartment. He spends 20 minutes a day doing that, and he has like 1.2 million followers on TikTok. Like, I mean, it's just a random like 45-year-old guy, like nobody knows, but he's like making just from that. Like, and so like that's why I never really made it big. Is like I was like used to be a retired like media consultant and stuff like that, because I would never recommend anyone to do that, even though I knew it was probably like it still is probably the best way to get big, you know, by clipping. Like clipping. Well, I mean, clipping's okay. I think that's still a very good field if you want to do that, because like there's a lot of good content.
I'm just kidding.
Look at this guy.
So yeah, but that's when I got out of the hospital. I immediately started Live Love Purpose, which I'll show you the logo right here on my sweatshirt. It is not a tic-tac-toe board, guys. It is a hashtag.
No, it's like a tic-tac-toe board with an angle at the bottom.
Yeah, it's a hashtag that goes into the LLP, Live Love Purpose, and something about this is the LLP has a double meaning, actually. So, Live Love Purpose, but also it stands for Long Live Peyton, because Peyton was my friend who passed away. But I really wanted to put emphasis on the purpose part of it, because like I said, I heard the voice and God was like, you have a purpose.
I'm supposed to be me. That's who God made me to be. Each and every one of you in this room has a purpose.
So let's get into who is the sponsor of today's video. Live Love Purpose merch.
Strike 3!
I know I struck out. What else do you want to tell me?
Dang, man, with that fit, you're going to be striking out every time. You need to get you some of this, and you'll be hitting a homer every day.
Okay, let's try that then. If you think you're so tough, I mean, like, I'm already great with my achromatic affective disorder and my voice cracks. Wow.
Back. Let's get to this next at bat.
3, tying run is at first, the pitch. Swinging a fly ball! Deep right, are you kidding me? A walk-off grand slam!
Baby, let's go! It's because of the merch.
And if you're wearing your Live Love Purpose merch and getting that online, you are going to be hitting dingers every day and winning every single game.
Just the hottest merch in the game right here. Fire merch. Baseball, any sport you play, wearing it to school, everybody's going to ask you what you got on.
He's got every single brand from Gildan to North Face. He's got it all. I mean, so go and make sure you get your Live Love Purpose merch.
Saturday, March 21st. In the link below this video. Let's go. And so this is the new merch, but I started making reels on Instagram and Facebook, which I'll collaborate with Benji on his Instagram. So you should go give it a follow, especially if you're struggling, or don't even give it a follow. Like, these are great informational videos of things that I struggled with and giving advice on how I got through them. And I make just these 3-minute reels talking about men's mental health, just talking about mental health, even if you're not a man, whatever it is.
No, it's awesome. Like, I watch his reels. I walk away encouraged all the time. This guy, he will attest though, like, the majority of the money that goes into this like merch, like, is going to be like for the kingdom of God, for his like ministry that he's doing to help reach other people, not just men, not just women, like anyone. Like, it's just going to be like, I'm
not making any money off this, by the way. Like, all the money that I do make, because
I don't care about the money whatsoever.
Uh-huh.
It's all going back to making content for Live Love Purpose to bring back mental health awareness and also incorporate God into this mental health awareness, and bring like just some sunshine on that. And so I'm so glad that Benji had me on today and that we get to rep the merch. This is the first time that it'll be repped, and it's dropping this Saturday, which is the same day
this video is dropping. So if you're watching this, today is the day that you're going to be able to get this for the first time. As I was saying earlier in the episode, I'm so happy I get to be the first person to announce to you guys Live Love Purpose merch is dropping. We're just adding on to the commercial. No idea how this is going to clip out, but yeah, absolutely just, I can't emphasize it enough. This guy, like, he's going to use this money for the kingdom of God. He's going to use it for helping other people, Christian or not, with their mental health, because like if you like, you know, don't get that right, you're gonna have a whole bunch of struggles like that, and like life is just gonna feel like just going through a daily cycle of emotions that's gonna end up leading to driving you to do something crazy like Braden did.
Yeah. So, or helping with, if you've ever lost somebody too, maybe you're not even struggling with mental health and you are and you don't know, but you've lost somebody close to you, like I lost Peyton. My videos talk about that too. So I'm so glad that I can sponsor this video today, and that we'll be dropping the link down below. And just like there's plenty of designs. These are not the only designs. There's Under Armour sweatshirts, North Face sweatshirts, Under Armour t-shirts, and then Gildan hoodies, crew necks, t-shirts. Yeah.
And that's when the mics cut out. So I'm Ben Undershirts here at the studio. And yeah, that's there's some technical difficulties and ruining the last part of him talking about the merch and the conclusion. But just 3 things I definitely know Braden would say would be just number 1, definitely if you need mental health help, go get it. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. It only builds up. It only tears you down more. Go find a friend. Go find a brother. Go find someone close, a parent, anyone that you know you can trust with that, and just who's going to help you get help, who's going to pray for you, who's just going to go through that whole mental health roadmap journey with you. Number 2 is just make sure you don't fall into that pit of lukewarmness. People who have gone off the cliff on something happens to them, and you know, all of a sudden it's a amazing, you know, exciting all of a sudden testimony. But anyone will tell you, I mean, Braden, you know, multiple times mentioned in the episode that he wishes he would have never tried that. And now God's going to use him. He's going to help other people prevent that from happening. But yeah, anyone who's definitely gone through any like huge thing like that is definitely going to tell you that they wish they would have just had a seemingly normal testimony. But guys, I'm going to tell you right now, your testimony is not normal. God is going to use it no matter what. Your story never ends. God is always going to put really cool things in your story that you can share with people, no matter who you are. So yeah, definitely make sure you stay close to Jesus. Make sure you're abiding in Christ, spending time with him, spending time with other believers, and definitely make sure not to fall off that cliff. Yeah, just be satisfied with your testimony. God's going to use it. Then number 3, if you are unsaved, there's a loving Savior named Jesus Christ who loves you so much that he died for you and is willing to be your Savior too, and is offering that. It doesn't matter like where you are in life, like what you're going through, the mess you might be in. Jesus is right there for you. He loves you so much, and he wants you to be his child too. So if you want to know more about Jesus, you can always probably DM me on Instagram or DM Braden, or find like a really good church and a really good pastor to talk to about it, because Jesus is the one who has changed my life. He changed Braden's life. He saved Braden from dying. He made us. He created us. He loves us. So definitely go make sure to hear more about Jesus, because he's more than just some random Joe Schmo. He is the creator of all that exists. He is the Lord of my life. He is the King of my heart, and he has changed me and made me new and more like him. So he's done so much for me that I never deserved, I can never earn, that he poured out his grace upon me. So yeah, just thank you for watching. It's really cool to even hear Braden's testimony, which I'd never heard it before. So yeah, God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.